Very good.
There's an awful lot to this.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's not the new.
no, it just keeps coming. That's good. That makes the rest of it. So I didn't have much time to go over today. Learn about this from the Casco area. I have to stay over here, wait for my son to figure it out here. So I'm just gonna hang out. So if you got anything, we can talk about it afterwards. If you're not super sure. That's why I brought the food in. Just getting ready.
Okay, we are live.
It is April 27th, 6 p.m. Open the EDA meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the March 23rd meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the March 23rd meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any other business? We signed a agreement for another lot up there, so it's about the only thing I had. See,
Is that the one where we got the building permit? Or is that a different one?
it's a different one.
Different one, okay.
It's actually a single family home one. See, there's Mitch on there.
Yep, I'm back. Sorry, I had to log off and log back on there. I was having some internet issues. All right, so we can get right into my report here. I'm gonna try to keep it short for you this evening. So just a couple announcements. There was a congressional community project funding request that came through the House Appropriations Committee. So Carrie, Jill, and myself, we sat down and we figured the best project to apply for funding was the sewer and water district. So we did put our name in for a $9 million to go towards that project. Whether or not we receive that funding, it's hard to say. Then they can come back and say, we'll give you less amount, or maybe they'll give you more. It kind of really depends. But we should know more about whether we were approved for funding towards the end of this year for that. So that's the only update I have for that as of right now, just that we put our name in for the application there. I know we have the facade program coming up as an action item, so we'll do that one in a little bit, as well as the community gardens. So we'll go on to the other updates, such as the new entrepreneur. I was going to be sitting down with her tomorrow to kind of go over financial projections. So obviously with me being out sick, I'm not going to be able to do that. We're going to find a date to reschedule here in the next couple of weeks and keep that project moving forward. Then the other project that we got going on is the dog park. Jill and I did meet with Aaron Graveman. We had a pretty good discussion about the dog park at Cranston Heights. There is a grant out there. It's called Bark for Your Park. This grant is going to be opening up on May 1st, and it's due by June 30th. So we're going to go through and we're going to try to put our name in for that grant and see if we can get some funding to help build the dog park there. She did have some other ideas that she texted me about today, possibly just doing something smaller while the community raises funds, but we'll see where that goes and how we can proceed with that. But those were the main updates I have, other than the two action items that we're going to get to next. And the first one, I believe, is the facade program. And you should have in front of you Travis and Lana Human's application to get approved. They're going to be upgrading the entrance area on their building, which is the 207 North 2nd Street. And they're going to be replacing the door to the apartments upstairs, and they're going to remove and replace a broken pane of glass. And they're also going to be replacing 2 windows in the apartment upstairs that's facing the street there. The total project cost is $7,313, and they're requesting the full $2,500 that will match up to. So that is an action item, so you guys can discuss that and look it over and have a conversation there.
Know any reason, Carrie, we shouldn't go ahead with that, or is it like you look at it, or
I did look at it.
you did?
I think we should go with it.
There's nothing there, yeah, no reason not to.
No.
They don't all meet their criteria.
Yep.
Okay.
Make a motion or?
Yeah. Make a motion that we accept the application for the facade program.
Do I get a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second to accept the Lonnie Human grant. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, Mitch.
Perfect. I will inform the humans that they can go ahead and proceed with the project there, and we'll get that moving forward. The next up was the guideline application for the community garden. You guys wanted to take the month to review it. I did get some of the updates in there that you guys have discussed, such as no electric fencing, the renter is responsible for supplying their own water, and that they're also responsible for tilling the garden at the end of the season, but we will do the tilling first. And then the first year is free for the plot, and then we'll reassess from there. I don't know if you guys had any other suggestions that you wanted to see in there.
No, but I got something on it. We should stake that out when you get back. Because for what the plots are, because I do have a guy that's gonna come in and dig it up, and then I got another guy that's gonna come up and till it out, so, for the first time.
Okay.
But we gotta get it all set up on how we want it, so.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. So, we should find a time here, maybe next week, where I can come up there, we can meet and kind of get everything staked out there.
Yeah,
Has anybody showed interest?
I have one on our list.
When can they start? May 1st. May 1st?
Yeah, May 1st or whenever the weather's cooperating enough.
I say I'm not gonna be in my garden May 1st. The billing for the cleanup, we have any idea how we just, whatever the city, you pay city workers to be in there, is that what that'll be basically?
well, like,
If there is cleanup?
what we did before on it is, like, if we have to go in somebody's yard and clean up, it's $50 an hour. And that's what basically we charge up here too.
That's what we'll charge here then for, okay, $50 an hour. So people can be aware, you know, if they wanna ask, or Jill can let them know if they leave stuff. Hopefully nobody does stuff like that.
Did you want to include that in the guidelines, that it would be $50 per hour, or you just want to leave it as staff time and dumping fees and other associated costs for cleanup fees?
Well, we should maybe have it in there.
Okay, yeah, I can put that on there then, where we're talking about those cleanup fees, that'll be $50 per hour spent.
Yeah, that way they know it's coming, because they'll hand a set of rules and regulations to them when they apply for it anyway, so.
So I did read through those and I thought most of those were pretty reasonable to me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think it is if we just put that 16 to it.
Yeah, what?
Just put that dollar
Number
on.
16 for
Yeah.
the dollar amount, yeah. So
Sorry, I didn't catch that. What did you say about number 16?
number 16 is gonna be the $50 an hour if we have to clean it up.
Gotcha, okay.
So has anybody else got anything on it? Or gonna make a motion to approve it?
I move that we approve this for the community gardens.
Got a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second to approve the rules with adding number 16 to it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, Mitch.
Perfect. Yeah, that's all I had for you guys tonight. Did you guys have any questions for me at all?
Well, not right now.
Go get better.
Perfect, will do. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Can I get a motion to adjourn the EDA meeting?
Almost.
I second.
Motion made and second to adjourn the EDA meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. We'll open up the council meeting, stand for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Sure, that's right. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? We gotta add another building permit in. Approve the agenda with the addition of another building permit for Allison Rolfmeyer.
Move that one.
Do we have a second? Motion made and second to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to approve the minutes of the April 13th meeting.
I'll second.
Motion made and second to approve the minutes of the April 13th meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Old business, I've been talking with Jason and we've got the sewer plant roof is gonna be getting done, so.
When's that scheduled?
Next week, hopefully, is the weather.
And is it Renier? Is that
Renner's gonna do that one.
What kind of roof?
They're gonna take off the existing roof. They're gonna fix the part that blew off, put plywood shingles, tar paper, try to replace as original as they can.
There is enough roof structure to do that.
The supports are decent, it's all
They'll just be building on.
the building onto that, yeah. So with weather, hopefully next week, but it doesn't look good now.
Did you get the cold mix in that?
We got the cold mix, we got the snow area cleaned up today, the Heritage Park bathrooms are open. We're gonna start working on the pool. Bathrooms tomorrow in the rain, try to get done with that. So we got half the sweeping done.
Sounds good, thank you. We'll go into new business, Goodhue County Recycling, Willie, what?
That's me. You have handouts for anybody that's interested in them afterwards, and some business cards if anybody wants to contact me.
It's this packet.
Yeah, the packet.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me tonight. I'll make it brief.
Is that on?
Is it on?
Yeah, is it yellow?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. I'll make a brief presentation on recycling and hazardous waste. And if anybody has any questions afterwards, I'll be glad to answer any of them. First of all, I'd like to say hi, Dwayne. Good to see you again. He's one of my Uber volunteers at our hazardous waste collections over the years. So recycling is alive and well in Goodhue County. I don't know how many of you utilize the green box over there. Thank you. Things have changed since we first started the recycling program over 30 years ago. Operations have changed, but for the most part, we still want people to participate. Actually more now. Rather than throwing everything in the garbage. We, at the Goodhue County Recycling Center, we take green, brown, blue, clear glass, bottles and jars only, nothing else. Plastics 1 and 2 only, and that's a tough one for people. Newspapers, office papers, phone books, we take those together. That can all go in the newspaper slot. Leave the inserts in the newspapers. All kinds of cardboard, except waxed cardboard. Magazines as well, we have a separate spot. Aluminum cans, tin cans, anything metal, aluminum. So, I went through that quickly because I want to get to the one statement that I heard this year from my friend down in Lake City, Mike Hagedorn. When in doubt, throw it out. If you don't know if it's recyclable, just throw it away. A lot of people do wish recycling, where it's plastic, it's got to be recycling, and they'll throw it in. We end up throwing our garbage that we accumulate after we sort through recycling has increased over the years. So we're trying to reduce that by doing things like this, coming to meetings and talking with people, answering questions, because we've been absent for many years, and I'm sorry about that. That's our fault. Things not to put in there. Very important. One of those handouts, syringes. A really big no-no. Diapers. You wouldn't believe that, but we get diapers. The things that can injure us as we're sorting through it, keep out of there. I included a hazardous waste schedule. Most of you got them in your tax statements. Just so you can have another copy. Share with your friends. We still are doing the hazardous waste collections, although COVID and the pandemic accelerated the change. We were on the brink of a change when COVID hit. Our insurance company came to the county and said, "You're having volunteers do what?" I know. And so we said, they said the only job you can have them do is hand out clipboards. And we said that would be a waste of their time. So how are we going to do this? So what we did was, instead of the 3-hour collections like we used to do, we're doing longer collections with fewer staff. But still collecting your household hazardous waste once a year here in Goodhue, and we love it here. It's a great spot. The collections have been very popular over the years. We also included a do's and don'ts to bring to the collections. One of the big things that we get a lot of at the collections, besides the fluorescent tubes, which we don't take at them anymore, you can bring them to the recycling center year-round, but is waste oil and oil filters. We don't take those at the Haz Waste collection. I know you're asking why. Because there are other outlets for that type of stuff. There are full-service stations. The Goodhue County Recycling Center in Red Wing has a 24-hour waste oil drop-off. Wanamaga landfill does take waste oil. So that's why we don't take it. And then I included 2 informational flyers for your reading pleasure. One is Farmsteads and solid waste. We get a lot of questions from farmers about what they can and can't do on their farms. The main one is burying and burning garbage. That's a big no-no, still. It's nothing new. Burying and burning garbage on your farm. Our garbage nowadays is not your grandparents' garbage. It's very toxic. Burning it, not only does it smell horrible, but it's bad for the environment. Then there are other things on here about, demolition debris and concrete. I just had several questions this week about burying concrete on farmsteads. You can do that. You just got to notify the county. There's no fee, but you have to notify them, record it on your property deed where it's buried. Just so when you sell it, somebody else doesn't come in and say, "We want to put a house over here," and they dig in and find, 400 yards of concrete. That would be a big thing. And then the last one is kind of an odd one, pharmaceutical waste. Not many people know what to do with their old prescription medication. So it outlines it in there. This is from the PCA, their preferred method of getting rid of it. Okay? Any questions? That's the end of my quick presentation. Any questions from anybody?
So this is how you do it at home. I mean, I guess I've always taken them to the,
There are drop-offs. Yeah, yes, so that does go through steps, if you can't take them to the drop-off, steps to make them unusable. Okay? I know I went through everything fast, I didn't want to take up too much time. I'll leave my business card, please call me or email me with anything, any questions you might have. Fluorescent tubes, bring them to the recycling center year-round, Monday through Friday, 8 to 3. Businesses pay 50 cents a bulb. Households can bring up to 10 for free. After that, it's 50 cents a bulb. But those, you know, it's a good way to get rid of them so they don't break in the back room because they contain mercury. We also want your LEDs because of that little microchip in them. The state wants them collected as well. So, any other questions?
Thank you very
Did
much.
I answer everybody's question? Wow. I'll leave material here.
Sounds good, thank you.
Great, yeah.
thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're next.
Mayor Bean, Council, Bo Kennedy with Good Use Soil and Water, we're right across the street. I've worked there for almost 20 years, I recognize a lot of faces here. Chad Hildebrandt's with me, he's newcomer to the SWCD, you might have seen him around town. I'm wondering, well, there's two things we'd like to talk about tonight. We'll have a protection plan with Scott, which you may know Scott. And then second, a grant opportunity would be interested in working with you. So I wonder, Scott, if you go first as an intro.
Perfect. Thank you both. Hi, everybody. My name is Scott Hansen. I work with Minnesota Water Association, and what we do is we work real close with the Minnesota Department of Health when it comes to working with communities and developing your wellhead protection plans. And your original wellhead protection plan was done back in 2013, and those plans are redone every 10 years. So I started the process of reaching out to Jason here probably about a month ago, just to bring him in the fold, because we look at the old plans to decide what measures we want to move forward or what activities that are in that plan into the new plan as well. So that was kind of where that whole thing started. Well, and then I'll talk a little bit about, to Bo's point, this is how this kind of built upon, looked at some of the measures in there and some of the activities and this grant opportunity and how it kind of built upon itself. So if you take a look at the map up there, that's what's called your, you know, in government there's lots of acronyms, but that's your DWSMA, that's your drinking water supply management area. So basically what you're seeing there is a 10-year time of travel to your wells. So when they're operating, well, I guess the one well is just in operation now, right, Jason? Mm-hmm. When that well's in operation, and that's what that area is showing from pumping in its capacity over 10 years, that's the area from which your drinking water is coming from the aquifer down below. And then you'll see different colors highlighted in there, and those darker colors are what is considered highly vulnerable areas of your drinking water supply management. So in those situations when there's stuff falling on the surface, it's getting down into your drinking water supply in a short period of time, probably talking about decades as far as the movement of the water down there. The other area that's outside of that is what's called moderately vulnerable, and that just means you have a little bit more geologic protection in those areas. So your recharge isn't occurring quite as quickly in those areas. Now, with your new plan coming in place in 2013, Minnesota Department of Health hydrologists will do a new, what's called a delineation or determination of where your drinking water is coming from. It's probably going to change a little bit. I'm going to assume that more of that area is going to be considered highly vulnerable, because what that current map is kind of showing is where it's highly vulnerable are the sandy areas, and the other areas are kind of the upland areas that are feeding down into that coarser textured soil. And with the way they've kind of changed and do their delineations now, if that area is contributing to that area where that coarser textured soil is, that whole area is probably going to be considered highly vulnerable. So it really is just a different way of they're taking a look at the protection that's allotted to that drinking water supply. What that means to you is that vulnerability is there's different contamination sources that are looked upon based upon the vulnerability. And the more highly vulnerable it is, the more things that there is to manage within that area moving forward. So have I lost anybody at this point?
Sure.
So yeah, so basically, I mean, just think of it as that area that's on the map. 10 years when your well is pumping, that's where you're drinking.
The darker
Yep.
purple,
Yep.
there's the light, I don't know, is that blue or the light color, and then
Do you
there's
see the
the
outline?
What's
of the-
squared off?
the outline, yeah.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
your 10-year area that you need to manage. And really, that's not the shape of it, it's what's called you have a wellhead protection area that's actually a calculated area. But just to confuse it, and not to try to make it less confusing, they square that up so that you don't have to describe some kind of an oblong shape in the middle of the fields there. So that's just basically on county line, or I'm sorry, on property lines or on township roads, just so they can square it up to give you a defined boundary that we're looking at there. And then that darker shade, or I call it the pinkish shade, that's the highly vulnerable areas within your recharge area currently. So that means that there's less protection in that area as, of course, for textured soils. So I kind of where this all starts now. You guys have 2 wells, and I don't quite know the history on it. I know you have a deep well that goes back to 1990. It was constructed. Jason, do you know any more of the story?
It was,
92.
I would say
92?
93, but it's 92,
Okay.
and that's this one.
This one's now 600 feet. The water's pure in it, but it's got so much iron in it.
And that was what I had heard. That's kind of the same thing from Steve over the years, is that when the well was drilled, basically there was so much mineral, iron and manganese within the well that he had a tough time trying to get it to the customers past their nose, because it just tasted different and behaved differently. So yeah, you're not going to have the nitrates within that well. But you're going to end up, with issues as far as iron and taste. And I don't know, most of the homes have softeners in them now?
Pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. So I mean, those are kind of some of the trade-offs, with that. When you're using those shallower aquifer wells, you can have some of that nitrate issues that's in there. Potentially someday there might be the potential to blend the 2 wells. If this well continues to go up in nitrate levels. Right now, I think blast test is right around 6 parts per million.
It was around 6.
Around 6.
They're in test this week, and
Okay.
next week.
And the drinking water standard is 10 parts per million. So you are below the allowable drinking water level, so there's nothing technically that you need to do. It's just over time that trend has kind of been steadily climbing on that well as far as the nitrate levels going up. And what basically nitrates are, the end product of anything organic that's breaking down. So, you have manure, you have commercial end, you have lawn end. I mean, it doesn't, there are ways, but it's difficult to, differentiate where the sources of where that nitrogen is coming from. So it's just kind of all, it's not, you can't really say X amount's coming from here, X amount's coming from there. But you kind of look at the land uses and put the picture together and for what potentially could be causing it. So, if that nitrate levels continue to trend in that direction, one way that you can help, modify or stop that curve is by doing stuff on the landscape to reduce the amount of nitrogen that's going on there. The majority of the duisma is in agriculture, and that's kind of where this soil health grant would come into play. Basically just trying to do stuff on the landscape to prevent the leaching of nitrates down in your drinking water. Just to even kind of make it a little more confusing, if nitrates continue to go up within your well level, if you get it to 8 parts per million, then the system would fall under the groundwater rule, and Department of Agriculture would get involved and come into the community and start talking with farmers and form a team to work with them on some of the nitrogen management things that are going on there. Department of Ag has done a lot of work in Goodhue already. They're just kind of looking at some of the different things that are out there. They want to make sure that all the point sources are eliminated as far as a source, like an old chemical storage location or anything like that. So they're currently reviewing those to see what impact they might be having on your drinking water supply.
So they go around to the area farmers then?
They form what's called a local advisory team.
Okay.
And then they I shouldn't say recruit, they go out within the community and have farmers come in, sit down in a room, get together, and decide what best management practices that they want to implement on the land to try and reduce the nitrate level. It's voluntary at its first level to get everybody together. They try and do what's called best management practices. They do those for 3 years, and then if the nitrate levels to continue to increase, then there is a regulatory portion of the groundwater rule that they'll try and move with as far as some different tools that are above and beyond, kind of the placement and the rate and those sort of things moving forward. So you're a long ways from from that point right now, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention that with MDA working in the area too. So, and the one thing that in your new plan that I would like to do is have your well, what's called gamma logged, and they can basically come down and run a piece of equipment down there just to verify the aquifer that you're in. The well logs they don't quite jive between the two wells as far as some of the verbiage that's in there as far as their description of the formations. So I think it'd just be a good idea just to run that down there just to verify where your drinking water is coming from. Because of that well where the nitrates are 6, it's below, indicated that it's below a confining unit on the log portion of it. But when the Department of Health actually identified the aquifer, they specified this Jordan aquifer, which is really above that confining unit, why it's more susceptible to some of this surface contamination going on. Because it is a little unique. I mean, I can't remember, that well there is fairly deep itself. It's over 300 and
440.
Is it 440?
440.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get into that.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of unique that a well that
The
depth.
one up here,
The one that
The one
you're,
up there.
yeah, the one that you're using.
cause that was redone here right before this one was drilled.
Yeah, 87, I think I saw that one was redone.
Yeah, it was, they put a camera down there and it was leaking so bad they had to pull it and recase it. And then they I don't think blasted something down, making a bigger hole.
Yeah, and it's, something else that could be done in conjunction with it is camera it again, just to make sure the integrity is still, in place there. But, the bull will show you here kind of the trend that's going on. Typically, if there's a issue where there's a major fault with the well with casing, you'll see more of a sharper spike or pick up something else in the well along the way. And there are trace amounts in the well of TCE2, which is basically like a degreaser type product. And so, I mean, that kind of if you put the pieces together, that that's showing up as well, and we're talking parts per billion on that. So that's way below the MCL for that as well. But there's also increased monitoring that's going on for that. So you kind of put the pieces together, it kind of shows there might be some, that vulnerability is taking place within that well. So yeah, it's there's, like I said, there's trade-offs to drilling deeper, and like you guys tried to do there. And were you trying to do you remember, were you trying to prevent the nitrate problem, or were you just looking for more capacity at the time?
See, when we did that one up there, it was almost 21. It was way high.
Oh, was that high?
They said not to drink it, so then they recased it, and it went down to where it is. But it was, when the cameras come in, I looked at the cameras, and water was just like a waterfall coming into it from the sides.
Yeah.
So they said it was all cracked. We got a grant from the state on that. Dave Durenberg, it was.
Okay. So
Got
years
that
ago,
for us,
yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, so, yeah, no, that, so we could camera it again just to make sure, that's going on, or health department could camera it again to make sure that's going on, and that there's nothing going on with the integrity of it. And then moving forward with your new wellhead plan, once that area is recalculated, you'll be having your consultant that'll do the plan. This part 2 that talks about the measures that are in there. But you have measures in your current plan that deal with agricultural activities that are grant eligible. So to piggyback on what Bo's talking about this grant here, this next go around, to supplement what he's talking about, if the city was interested, we could apply for an implementation grant. That's $10,000, and it's not a match, it's just there to help protect your drinking water. It's through the Our legacy funds is where that comes from, so that's an opportunity to, and then we'll just make sure moving forward that we have measures in there to protect those wells as well that are dealing with these situations.
Sounds like a good idea.
But I will turn it over to.
I know you guys like to make quick meetings, but I need you for 5 more minutes.
You're saying I took your 5.
Julie, is there a way to push the start slideshow so it's a little bigger? Down on the bottom right by that sliding scale, go left a little bit more. That one, right? Oh, that one.
This one?
Yep, and then push just arrow down to pay to right there. Okay, thank you. So yeah, maybe just to touch base on the 2 wells that, according to MDH, the Department of Health, where you're getting your water from is these 2. The original one, I think, what Mayor Bean was talking about was drilled in 39 and then deeper to 440. That's the well that has like 6.5 parts per million nitrates. Well 3 located out here by Public Works, correct me if I'm wrong here. Yep. It was drilled in the 90s and that's the deep one. So if you go to the next page, please. So that's your well 1, and you can see a big jump in the first 10 years. Well, there's samples that go on before 1993, but from 93 to like 2002 or 3, there's a significant jump in your nitrate value in your well. Since then, it's kind of steadied off a little bit, but more or less in 20 years, maybe less, you're going to be over that 10 part per million range, if it's on the same trend. There's a lot of variables that go into that, like Scott said. I just wanted to paint that picture for you, the 440 foot deep well. Next page. So this is what's underneath us. If you can just imagine underneath us getting sliced in half and pulling up and looking at the side of it. Well number 1, I put a red dot there. That's about where that well is underneath us in the Jordan Aquifer. So there's a lot of landowners around town that have wells in the Jordan Aquifer, the same aquifer this one's coming out of, and yet their nitrate levels are near 0 or at 0. So there's a lot of reasons for why this one's higher. Goodhue, the city of Goodhue pumps more water than any resident around here, so that's one thing. So it likes to suck everything to it. The other thing might be some local contaminants that are causing the nitrates to be high. Those are like the 2 main things. Otherwise, I mean, I got friends just east of town, 360 foot deep well, and it's 0. So, well number 3 is off the charts here, and I think that aquifer is like Tunnel City.
Yeah.
So that's a different aquifer completely within a confining layer. It's safe for now. Right. Just want to paint that picture. And then, as far as our office goes, we work with landowners across the county mainly to fix soil and erosion problems, as you may know. We build dams, we build terraces. Heck, we just help fix the waterway out here. So those are the type of things that we normally do. Lately, we've been getting involved with like more non-dam things. So like, yeah. So like,
That don't even sound good.
yeah. We're still doing dam things, but we're starting to do non-dam things like cover crops. So you might see some of those sometimes when you drive around. They're all green right now. It's the only thing that's green. Things like that we found that can provide a huge benefit to water quality, surface water mainly right now, and to the landowner for forage or for keeping soil in place, things like that. But those type of practices we want to talk just a little bit more about. We still got 2 minutes.
Yeah. I usually tend to talk pretty fast. I try not to.
Next.
Yeah, next slide too, please. Bo and Scott mentioned there is a grant opportunity for working with landowners in the Duisma area. And relating back to the current well protection plan you guys have developed, there are 2 goals that are listed in that: education and assisting landowners on implementing these best management practices like cover crops or no-till or manure management aspect. So that would be one of the main priorities that we would focus on with this grant opportunity. And where the minimum dollar amount is 30,000, but you know, we're looking at the Duisma as approximately 2,500 acres. You know, a good goal would be trying to cover, let's say, 70 to 80% of the Duisma or be cropland acres with, we'll say, cover crop. You can help with the financial cost share of that, so you're looking 150 to 250, $300,000 grant potential that we would we can assist with. Also, with that is the education side, pamphlets, flyers, inviting the landowners in Duisma to field days or to educational nights here to explain the process and what we're working on explaining here. So that meets the plan goals and activities that was developed to try and meet. So we just see it as an opportunity right now going into the end of the wetland protection plan and then going into the new 10-year to kind of get jump start into it. And we're, the technical side, we work with producers throughout the whole county. We handle these grants every day. And then be able to come down here and having a partner with the city is, we see as the most critical part. That it's community. It's not just each individual landowner, it's community together as a whole, all coming together to address a potential concern. So that's where we see this as a great opportunity to start. And if you get some grant dollars to help with that, that's even better.
What's the benefits to the farmer here as far as the money? Would we help them with costs or cover crops, or?
Yep.
Would we help with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then information and training.
Correct. Yep. And that's with the grants, we kind of get that estimated number of acres, so we choose that 80% number. And we did, it's a cover crops example, it's a 3-year contract, and we'll say example, $40 per acre, and they sign up for 100 acres, it'd be $400 times 30 is $1,200. And then on that specific acreage that they will identify and to do it every year for 3 years.
Would that cover the cost of those crops, or just be part of the cost, probably?
Right now, the way that it is, probably part. Last couple years, you're probably getting closer. And that's where we would work with the policy side of it. If you increase 45 or 50, but there's language that we're held to with the state dollars that we have to maybe only go that maximum amount. And so that's where the education side comes into. And hopefully maybe find some other partners to pitch in to help offset additional costs somewhere else that's not state dollars. Because we always look for a match in these grants too.
So no one likes being told what to do, right? And the framework that Scott laid out, if the well gets get high enough, someone's going to be told what to do. This is an opportunity to kind of avoid that by incentivizing soil health practices that not only benefit water quality, but have been proven to put money in the landowner's water. There's not, if you can go to the next slide, there's not just one thing that you can do. There's a whole suite of different things that landowners can adopt. So like minimal disturbance manure application isn't going to work on, let's say, Dick Lodemeier's field who doesn't have animals or has manure. So something else on his might work if they're interested in doing that. Whereas like Grapevines, they have animals, they have a ton of manure. Why not figure out a different way for manure application that can be worked in with cover crops? So it's not like we're gonna one practice on everything. It can be several things, and that's what would be spelled out in the grant. Dollar figures would be spelled out later in the grant, but it would be enough where it would be a good hook to get something. So the next slide is kind of the summary, and it'll be out of your hair, but what we'd like tonight is maybe a direction on like maybe a thumbs up, thumbs sideways, or thumbs down on how you guys feel about us going for this grant opportunity, working with you guys to deliver the message to the folks that live in the Duisma here, the drinking water area, to promote some of these practices. Again, message from our office is, kind of comes on deaf ears sometimes, because we're always pushing this stuff. So it really have to come from the city, saying, this is our drinking water, please help us protect it by contacting us and so the water office. What do you think?
It sounds like it's something that
Yeah.
needs
Absolutely.
to be done. Should.
It's protecting everybody in the city anyway, so.
Right.
And Scott, I know we met a couple weeks ago on Monday, and we were talking about other communities that have already gone past the threshold of nitrates.
Yeah, there's quite a few communities in the southeast part of the state that, similar to yourselves in the 90s, where there wasn't a construction issue, it was just because the nitrates were elevated within the aquifer. Typically, it's within the Jordan Aquifer here in the southeast part of the state. Limestone fracturing, on top of that fracturing goes down into there. So, city of Utica is currently looking at drilling a new well. Altura has reached that point where they're at 8 parts per million, and MDA is working with forming a lab team to work with farmers in that area. And then, part of, you get way down southeast, you get Houston County, you get some of those areas. If you just looked at a map, you'd think, well, everybody's doing a super job when it comes to wellhead protection because there's no highly vulnerable wells. Well, they all had to do something back in the 70s and 80s already because they were so vulnerable and they were doing well. So sometimes you don't get a clear picture of what's going on with that. And then City of Lewiston, they ended up drilling a new well. And they went deeper, and this was probably, I don't know, 8, 9 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. And when you go deeper in these formations, sometimes you can get away from the nitrates, but there's naturally occurring radium. And it's just there, but it's naturally occurring. So you end up putting in treatment for radium, you end up treating one problem for another, drilling a deeper well on top of it, and still end up doing treatment. So that's why if there's an opportunity to do something on the landscape to turn this before it gets to it. And especially, it's a trend, but it's not a straight line taking off. So there, in certain situations, some look more attainable than others. And the way this is trending, if we can get stuff on the landscape there, I think probably a good chance to at least slow that rise down. That it looks like in there, I'll be honest with you, there's certain situations where if you had 6 feet of loss over the top of fractured limestone, I don't care how good a manager you are, as far as a farmer when dealing with some of those scenarios and row crop situations, it's just really tough. But here, based on the situation that we have, I think there's potential to get something on there, maybe make a difference.
Yeah, I think we have to. This one over here has got so much iron in it that we have, I haven't told you that yet, but you gotta.
Howie did.
Did he?
Yeah.
You gotta flush everything. When you start that well up, you gotta let it run for 15 minutes. We're just going out on the ground or into the waterway. Otherwise, if somebody washes clothes, they're all coming up orange.
Right. Yeah, and iron still is just kind of a potable usage sort of thing. Manganese always was kind of grouped with iron, but manganese is moving towards the point where there might actually be an MCL or maximum contamination level for that. I would say, moving forward here, when people are taking it's still kind of in that metal family, and there's some health things that they're starting to pick up on that as well, that they're starting to take a closer look at. So, yeah, as a rule, the shallower you are as far as wells go, the less mineral you have, just because it's younger drinking water, it hasn't had time to precipitate all that stuff in the formation. So yeah, it's difficult when you get to that one generation that's using that upper aquifer all the time. It's basically soft water. It tastes great. You go to wash clothes, you go wash dishes, it's great, but it's just, health-wise, no, but that's just a tough sell because it's got a lot of principles for potability that people like. There just happens to be contaminants in it. Yeah, and I mean, we're always trying to look ahead too, and whatever we can do to, protect this, there'll be something else, potentially down the road too, so try and do whatever we can do to cut things off.
Final question. The city-owned tillable land, say we have funding to do this in the water, or in the wellhead area, would the city be willing to maybe showcase some of these practices on that section of tillable, just as a demonstration to show what can be done, or?
Right out here by the other side of the twin homes.
Yeah.
I think it's 6.7 acres or something there. Yeah, I mean,
So you work that into the grant of really built for the people.
no, I think we should. I mean,
Still with your crop, and everything, your income off that would just be implementing one of these practices with it.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for the support, so we'll be in touch.
Thank you. You'll be second meeting in about 18 months.
Do we need to make a resolution, I mean, that we're gonna support, to go for the grant, or is that just, we can really go through?
Well, you can get us more information on it first.
Well, that's the thing, it's due in about a week and a half. I think if you were applying for the grant, then yeah, you would form a resolution. We'd be applying for the grant, you'd be listed as a partner.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure there is.
Okay, just, yeah.
Yeah, we handle the larger grants, all, like these size all the time, so.
The funds built in for some of this time.
Yep. So it's the new partnership that, we have across the street from each other, so.
No, that's sure, that's what we'll do then. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
I'm sure I'll go through the files I find it.
Building permit for Bigelow. That's on, Twin Homes. Yeah, adding a second twin home there. It is the same footprint as the first one.
Sure, yes.
So it meets all of our,
Okay, which one is it? What does it say, 106? 11th Street?
No, it's,
Yeah, 106 7th Street. It's on the second section of that.
It's on the second section. Oh, I thought 106 was further up the hill.
it
This
is.
one, this
Yeah.
is, this is the bigger one.
it's just right, so we're already building one, and this is the second one, twin home. And they're right beside each other.
Yeah, it's the one right next to it.
Okay.
All right.
Same, dimensions, all that,
Yep.
Jason, we checking it out, making sure it's all staked out.
Well, he come in when I was in there with Jill the other day too, and we talked about it. So
Okay.
it's basically the same footprint as the other one.
Looks like a little higher price, so.
I think maybe lumber.
It's going up so fast, yeah. Well, I make a motion that we approve the application from Bigelow for a building permit.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second to approve the Bigelow building permit. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. The next one is for Brian and Allison Rothmeyer at 203 11th Street.
This is the deck.
Yeah. You guys get a picture of it?
I'd only printed the, actual building permit, and then she has all the drawings, and you're the one that has the only copy of it.
I'll pass it down so you guys can look at it.
Looks like it's a 16 by 16.
And it's within the parameters of what it's supposed to be.
35 feet to the back, yeah. You have to make sure on that, Jason.
On the deck in the backyard. We can go one.
contractor was, or if they doing it themselves, or what?
It looks like self because the second part of their packet, it listed their name,
Oh, okay.
so,
Do it.
yeah.
I don't know where this place is it gonna be any kind of problem with the neighbors and things at all?
It's actually on the west side of the street coming down. So it'd be up against where we haven't developed yet.
Oh.
Yeah, cause it's,
No neighbors really bother there.
it'd be just about by your son's.
Yeah, he's 205.
Yeah.
And so it'd be up the hill from him.
Yep.
Like just one house? Oh, next door.
Next door neighbor, yeah.
Okay.
So how do you feel on that one?
I guess I don't have a problem with it if everything meets all the requirements.
We should approve this, permit for the deck.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the building permit for the deck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Pool fees with Tory Raider.
See you on the
Is
phone
that
now?
you?
I don't think so.
Are you on, Tori?
Yep, I'm here.
Ooh, good. Hi, Tori.
Hello. Sorry I couldn't make it. We're busy in finals week here at my college, so
Oh,
it's kind of hard to make home.
Of course.
Just want me to get going, Jill?
Yeah.
Okay. So, on the thing, a lot of concerns are fees and things. Right now, our single pass is $60 for any individual, child, parent, whoever that wants a pool pass to the pool, of course. And I think that seems pretty good as it is right now, the $60. If that's an issue at all, anyone have any issues?
So how much do you charge per day to go in?
$4 for anyone who just wants to come in. So like for an individual, that's about a little bit over 12 times more than the pool, which I think is pretty good with how, I say, small community it happens. Everyone kind of goes, we have a lot of regulars every day, every week. So I think that's kind of in good use. And with our hours right now, which are 1 to 4 weekdays, and then that opens up again from 5 to 7 at night. And then on the weekends, we're open from 11 to 1 family swim, which is when families can come in, and then 1 to 6 the rest of the day. So basically 11 to 6 on the weekends. And that can be used anytime during that.
And you feel $60 is good?
Yeah, I mean, it's worked. I think it's been pretty good. I haven't heard any complaints.
Well, I just wonder if we gotta start looking, especially if we're gonna pay lifeguards a little more, we gotta start doing something to get some more revenue in.
I agree with that. I was thinking, so the next thing is family passes. I feel like those right now are currently $125, which is just a little bit over 2 individual passes. So normally like a family of 3 end up with like choose that instead of just getting like their children or an adult and a child individual pass. And I think that might be raised. Right now it's at 125. I think just an extra like 15 to 20 or maybe even $25 with that, because I feel like those get used a lot. With a family of 4 or 5, if they get in about like 7 times, I think, until it evens out, $4 a day per kid and parent. So I didn't know if that would be raised if we were going to decide to raise lifeguard pay if we needed that extra cash, like mentioned.
Do you get a lot of family passes?
Yeah, I think a little bit over, it's probably like 35, 40 families a year, probably more than that. Give or take a few, I'd say. So it evens up to a lot, and I feel like that's been a talk too, that everyone's like, wow, these are pretty cheap, every time they come in to sign up. So I just think with big families, especially in this community, I think it definitely be brought up.
Yeah, cause Jill and I were talking about this too, and I was thinking of 150 because they're still gonna come out with a good deal on it.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was my number I was thinking of as well.
Do we need to think about too, how much are you thinking we're gonna need to, well, how many lifeguards do we have signed up now? And how much do you think they're gonna need, how big a raise in order to get enough lifeguards?
So yeah, for me right now, I think we have about like 6, not counting the full-time guards, which is a little bit lower than we've had the past years. I feel like there's been like 10, so it's kind of a big cut. And we have like 3 to 4 like part-time or like subs that are willing to be like called in type of thing. So I think that, do you want me to jump in with the information I have on lifeguard pay?
I think it might be good now before we even consider passes and that kind of stuff.
Okay, cool. So right now, surrounding cities like Cannon Falls and Rhoda, they pay second and third year guards around like $11.75, $12 just for like lifeguarding, and then for Cannon Falls right now they're paying their lifeguard like assistants or head lifeguards like $13, $14. Which last year we had at Goodhue a head guard position that was paid $15. That was one guard, and then the rest were still paid their regular. I think the second year got paid $10. So those that are in like high school that are in the 11th grade are getting paid like $10, $10.50, and then head guard getting paid the $15 because our last manager wasn't working and managing at the same time. So I think if we were to designate a few of those full-time guards that are older, have been there for 2 to 3 years already, designate them as like assistants or head guards, that they get more of around the $13 to $14 range, and then even having like first and second year guards getting paid that $11, $11.50, just because I feel like we're also open more than surrounding guards or surrounding pools around us, which is more time obviously and more commitment to the pool, especially with the swimming lessons too. Our swimming lesson program has been good as well.
So I'm one that thinks with the way things are now and wages, we're gonna need to raise our wages. And I think Patricia and I both were looking at starting guard at around what you just said there.
The first year.
Yeah, first, you think that will bring more starting guards in?
Yeah, I think that's one thing too, is now especially with just obviously like living everything and like first jobs and things, it's like $9.50 isn't gonna want to bring in kids. And I know for a fact, I think a lot of them have been asking, oh, it's still $9.50? So I think, yeah, starting at like $10, $11 is good, especially those that want to stay too, because I feel like those 3-year guards that are getting out of high school and starting to go into college and jobs after that, the $11.50 isn't really going to cut it for what they need to start paying for their own bills and things. So I know a lot are like, I don't know if I'm going to come back if I'm only making the $11.50. That's what 3-year guards.
How many people would move up to that 13 or 14, do you think?
I have 2 guards that were like 100% full-time that have been here for 3 years. So like I mentioned before, we have like 6 full-time. 4 of those, 4 or 5 were like on their first and second year. But we have those 3rd and 4th year. There's 2 girls right now that were on the fence. Like, I will either find another job if I can't get more money, and then they would be fully committed to the pool. So 2 right now, around that like $13, $14 range.
And then are those second and third year people, jump them up to, we have some more of those, correct?
Yep, there's about like 4 to 5 first and second years, which I think would be like $11, $11.50, because it was only a 50-cent raise for when you start, and they start at $9.50, so they'd only be at like $10, $10.50 right now, which I think is a little bit also for them still putting in the same amount of work as the older guards. I think with how much we're open and what we do, I think that like the $11.50 would be beneficial.
So what about the subs?
Subs I think would just make the same as their year, so it'd be the same, so they'd be making $11.50 as well, but then it's just their choice, they're working less, so they're obviously not getting as much as the full time.
So you're saying for the first year like $11?
Yep, and then second like $11.50.
And second $11.50, okay.
Mhm. And then if there's any like third years that, third or fourth years that are just subs that aren't the two head lifeguard, obviously then they would get their like 50% raise as well, so they'd be at like 12 or 12.50. But then just those head guards are the ones that are making the a little bit more because they're putting in more time, obviously.
Okay, well, okay, and so the head guards, then, what do you think for them, did you say?
I don't know, that's my question, do you think it should be more towards $13 or more towards 14? Head guard last year made 15, if there was only one of them, so that's why I didn't know if, I think that 15 would be great, but I think just having two, that's a little bit harder to pay for. So I don't know if bringing it to like 13.50 or 14, I didn't want your opinion on that.
So then you as the manager, then.
What are we paying you?
That was 15 last year, wasn't it?
As a head, as a head.
Yeah.
What are you looking for this year?
So yeah, as a manager, I think it's a bonus, and then I think it was like $16 for continuing to work pool hours and swimming lessons and like coordinating everything for that.
16, did you say?
60.
Okay, yep.
Okay. I see Cannon Falls has it a little bit higher.
Yep. Their assistants were at $13.95 for their assistant / head lifeguard, so basically 14 an hour.
Well, Patricia and I met and talked about some of these, and these are, I think what you're talking is real close to what we were saying. And how we thought also that people who had been there 2-3 years should get that little better wage too, to keep them there.
Yep.
Because they could probably go, who knows where, right? And make 15 to 20 at McDonald's. Don't tell them I said that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
so I would say what you're talking hits what we were thinking. I don't know what, you know, Jason thinks or our mayor, but, I think those numbers you're saying come in real close to what we were thinking we should do.
Kind of need to have them, you know.
Well, that's it.
That's basically what I had, is
Oh, it is.
1150, 1350.
Okay, okay. So maybe what, have you got that, Joe, as far as what we're talking for wages, or does she need to send something to clarify?
Yeah, so I have the notes on here, and so if you would be okay if I have her write this all up and we compare what I have for notes, she has for notes, and then I bring it to Carrie. And then once Carrie looks at it, then I can share it with the council and we'll all get on the same page.
Yeah, and so now with that idea, passes, are we going up high enough on our passes?
Well, that's what
Does that sound okay, Tori, what I just said?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
great. I think running it by with her would be great.
Okay.
Having a final number after that.
Okay, and now they're gonna go back and discuss the pass part, the passes fees right now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that sounds good.
Tori,
Right now it's 125 as just a reminder.
okay, lesson fees, what do you charge for that?
Right now we have $30 a child, and that covers each kid for the 2 weeks that the lessons go on. And then private lessons are kind of a different story. Those are around like, that goes different per guard, so those aren't very like through the city or anything. But for now, yes, it's $30. I feel that's pretty good. I don't know with the upgrade if we want to just do like 35 or keep it at 30 with how we're doing guards now wages. But what do you guys think?
You want my opinion?
It probably should go up.
My
I think
opinion is that single passer should go to 70. And the family pass 150 and lessons fees at 40. That should cover us.
I like those numbers.
And I think we have to keep in mind, we don't make money on the pool.
Well,
We don't.
yeah, we lose every year.
We
but
don't
how
break
much?
even on the pool.
Right.
But nobody does,
Right.
from what I understand.
No, it's
city
an
does.
amenity for people in town is what it is, so.
Yeah, Yeah, so
It's not
we're not gonna make enough to cover, but at least we can help out with, you know, the cost.
I think we should do this and see where we come out at the end of the year.
Sure.
I mean, if we have to do adjustments again next year.
And that'd be fine.
And it's not a huge increase, it isn't like, it's,
Do you agree with that, Tori?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think families are gonna put up a big fight about it. I think $10 to $5, and then I think the difference between lessons and individual passes isn't a huge deal, and then family passes, I think, many have been said as they sign up, like, whoa, this is really cheap. So I think the $150 would not be a big deal, and plus with the size of families that come in, it's definitely still a bang for your buck.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good. Sounds really good. I just saw in the paper today about Pine Island and what their, it's a lesson season pass sign up. And their individual passes are 75, the family pass is 150. And then, but that's only for a family of 4. So if there's more kids, then I guess you gotta pay extra. So how is that for us here? Is it all, is it just
We were
the whole
one
family
already.
is, yeah, that'd be good work.
I believe we have 6 or 7 slots on the sign-up sheet, so normally you can fill that up, so normally, and they only do immediate family, like there's no like grandparents, aunts and uncles that can be added to it, so we just have Steph and Lisa.
What are you talking about here?
I like that.
Well, I know I buy it for my son, you know, and there's 6 kids in that family.
Yeah,
That's why the 150 doesn't bother me at all.
yeah, because it's a place for them to go, it's good.
Do we need a motion on these, or?
Yeah.
So, I don't know if we have all the numbers officially written down, but, I'd make a motion concerning the numbers we talked about tonight. And,
Go with
passes.
the numbers for lifeguards and the pass.
Yeah, yeah.
Do I get a second?
Second.
Motion's made and second to go with what we've discussed with the passes and the lifeguard wages. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Thank you, Tori. I'll be in touch with you.
Okay, awesome, thank you guys.
Thanks, Tori.
Thank you, Tori.
Yeah.
Okay, part-time summer help lawn mowing.
So, this, I mean, you know, should they be on the same grid, the lawnmower person?
Well,
Kind of what we do for,
what you do for one, you gotta do for all of them.
for all of them. Depending on experience, I think if there's more experience, then they get higher wage. If it's somebody that's just starting, I guess, I don't know, if it would be the 1150.
Yeah.
What did we publish, or at all?
So it's published out there that we're looking for somebody, but
Didn't we have a number of 14 listed on there?
no,
Oh, we
it's
didn't.
only come to here.
Oh, okay, good.
Because, I mean, it just seems that we have to be fair
Yeah.
for both, you know. for
So
both.
what do we pay, like our part-time sewer people on that? 18?
1850.
Okay, but they've been here forever too, though.
You've been here what?
Forever.
Like town down there.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
No, I just wanna make sure we're fair with everybody, that's all.
Is Jason gonna get people, gonna get somebody signed up for 1150?
Possibly. There hasn't been too much interest though.
I have one applicant turned in and somebody picked one up yesterday. And they are both,
Retired.
yeah, one's retired and one's in their 60s. We have no younger.
So they'd be experienced.
But if it, I talked to the one, and he only wants mowing time, that's it. He wasn't interested in,
Weed whipping?
no.
And what's listed there?
Yeah, there's a
painting
list
and-
of stuff.
Have you brought it up to the school at all, or
I haven't.
have you? Let's try it, bring it up there and just see if there's any interest in, before we decide anything.
Well, do we need a wait then? What if we bring it up there or no?
Yeah,
Well-
you're gonna have a wage, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could start out, if they've never done it, 11, if they,
And if
or
there's
11.50 or whatever it is, yeah.
then go up
Starting at 11.50 and then go by experience.
I mean, especially where you have painting toilets and, I mean, that's on that list of
from
some
there. Yeah, things to do.
activities, painting and, you know.
It would be nice to have somebody just vehicle mow, that takes a lot of
Even
time.
that would just, okay.
Mowing is just about everyday job.
It depends on the summer, but there's a lot to mow, and, I mean, obviously we can help them. If these need to break, or if we get somebody that just wants to mow, that would be, like, if we can't get a younger person, and we end up getting somebody retired that wants to put in 20 hours helps a lot. So, because things are going pretty well now that we have 2 of us here, but there's still a lot to do.
Well, just the trimming alone in these
Right,
parts
the trimming.
is a lot, I mean.
I think it makes sense to try it in the school, to see, I don't know, what you do, just hang it up somewhere, or
We can post
you
it up
mention
there.
it and just see if anybody's.
Put it in the announcements maybe, could you do that, Jill? Probably.
So then we'll make that decision in May.
Yeah,
There'll still be ice on the ground.
probably.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go on. Mayor's concerned, I've been working with Jason and Todd and trying to get everything squared away in town here. Did we ever get our signs in that, or?
We got the signs they've delivered, the street signs you mean? Yeah, they came last week
Street signs for you.
for
Up on, 6th Street by the school there?
Yeah.
We've got 7th Street with an arrow going this way because there's so many people to get. 4th Avenue goes through kind of, but it doesn't, it stops there. 7th Street goes through, so we got arrows to 7th Street this way, 4th Avenue this way. Well, because there's a lot of people that come to town,
They can't.
yeah, so it's just, and we had a couple landowners up there ask us about, we said, we'll see what we can do, so.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's good.
You know, then the sewer plant roof is getting done,
We're gonna resubmit these to the
Yeah.
renter.
oh, they're gonna do it?
No, we're gonna have, renter is sending that Lee
Oh,
a new quote. They haven't been here yet to do it, they're supposed to be coming, they took pictures last week on Thursday, and then tried to get, claims there was more damage to the roof than what was actually there. So we're working with that right now. And then,
Insurance for that?
well, yeah, they only are gonna cover that slope and 5 square feet of this, and 4 square feet of that picnic shelter, that's it. And Todd and I are gonna patch that one. We get weather that's decent and caught up on some other pressing stuff.
our pumps are in.
Our pumps are in, plant's working amazing so far. And we're gonna hire Quality Flow, a new Craig is coming to put the lift station in.
I don't know if these people know about it yet.
Oh,
The lift station was bought last year, was supposed to put in last year,
yeah.
but it never got done. This quality flow is actually people that if they put it in, they'll warranty it. So if something goes wrong, it's a little higher price, but we're covered.
It's worth it if they're gonna cover it.
Well, that's what I was telling them, I says, I'll bring it up to you people, but we talked a lot about it the last couple of days, just trying to get everything coordinated to get it done, so.
So,
Oh, it's the whole base, everything.
It's actually a lift station for the
Lift
grinder,
station, Everything.
yeah, the bill housing, the whole works on it, so. You know, it's gonna be about 10,000.
Just in the labor, the rest of it's, you guys. have
Yeah,
paid.
it's paid for already. But if they put it in, they'll warranty it and cover it, so if something goes wrong. The one that's been in there has been in there since 1982. So, I mean, it's been good to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, what else was there? We talk every day,
Yeah, there's been a lot.
you know.
you were cleaning manholes?
Well, we flushed out how many of them.
Well, yeah, we had some sewer blockages, they went up and flushed them out. They put a camera down a couple of them because we thought there was something else going on, but
It was roots.
it's roots and it's just like down here, these people don't run enough water through it. So everything comes in and settles, so they gotta keep flushing it. But they're doing good, I mean, they've been picking up right on everything else and, you know, he informs me and everything what's going on, so. So hopefully we're getting it back to where it should be again. The only thing is, I told Josh, well, your building out there, is that done now, or?
They have the wiring done except for the fans. They'll get time out to go in the ceiling, put the supports in, and then they can finish it. They put the point in today, right? No, yesterday, the phone card for the internet. And I talked to John Lance from SDS. They are looking for indoor work in the rain. They possibly can finish that off this Monday, Tuesday next week. I just talked to them at like 3 today. So they'll come in with all the materials are there. It would just be
The finish it up.
finishing up, yep. Because we got too much other stuff that's important to worry about that.
No, but I just wanna get that done too, so I don't have an issue with John Lance.
Nope.
That sends the serve. And, but we did have to get Bendas in here to redo a bunch of the wiring, because we'd never get it inspected. They would never pass it, so I had told Corey to just get it so it passed, and so he was in it for a good day or better.
Just a day. He has to come back for a few things.
Yeah, but it's up the way it should be. We would have had the way it was, we would have ended up with electrical fire in there. So just trying to cover this. That's about it for me. Any council concerns?
Just right along this line, did we get insurance for the pumps or anything, or what?
They paid for one pump. The other one they considered was not a failure. It was a maintenance of a worn out pump. The one was a catastrophic failure, the other one wasn't. So they split. I talked to them last week. They'd send you the bill, no. They were gonna split that up.
Something.
So they were, it was like a total of 30,000, so they're talking 15,000.
15, I think they were gonna cover something like that.
Half of it.
It's
Helps.
helps.
We didn't know if we were gonna get anything for a while.
Well, that's what we were just playing and hoping we'd get something out of it.
Yeah.
50% is pretty good.
Yep.
Got any other council concerns?
Yes.
Okay.
Both sets. That the check, the amount of money here, is that gonna be forwarded to the
JC's.
JCs?
I think that's what we decided last time, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what it was, wasn't it? I thought they were just gonna turn that over to JC and then they were on they were gonna have to take care of it.
Yeah. So I think that would be a good idea to get that done, or whatever is left. It's not 12,000, but it's 11 something.
Yeah, just on.
Okay. And, let's see. And then they just talked about at the last meeting, you know, what closing the streets that will have to be done around that time. And I have a list here, but you'll have to talk to Traven before the weekend, cause I would hope that you guys would be around to be able to help with that. I mean, this, and like the street sweeping afterwards.
SDS does that, don't they?
Yeah, they come
in
in.
every Saturday and Sunday.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah, because then the fire department wash everything down too.
Okay.
And I talked to,
That's good.
Wash it off.
That's good. Okay.
I talked to, the portable guy, can't think of his name.
Suburban?
Suburban, they're gonna do the restrooms again. For the JCs, they've already talked to Traven, I think.
Yeah.
Cause we've had issues with this one over here.
I was gonna say, did they get into this one or?
Well, and I was gonna bring that up, I don't know if you guys wanna continue to have that there, because it just continually gets hammered, and we cleaned it again today. And so we're gonna try to give it a couple more weeks, and if it keeps happening, we're either gonna have to pull that out of there, or, cause they fill it with trash, plug the holes, all over, mess everything.
Well, we got wireless cameras we can set up there.
We may have to do something, because this is getting.
But I think it's a really nice thing to have it.
Mhm.
People having picnics and all that, they got to go to the.
They have to go all the way up the other side of the swimming pool.
Right, and that's super good.
But I mean, we had wireless cameras set up down here last year. We had them set up down by this, recycling last year.
We may have to put one in.
So wouldn't be hard to put one there just to look at it.
Right.
Then that actually comes across like Josh's phone.
Yeah, where's Josh?
Yeah, maybe I can talk to Josh.
And maybe a sign that says, this facility. under
Smile,
surveillance.
you're on camera
Yeah,
before
there
you
you
go in.
go. Well, on the
There you
outside,
go.
on the outside.
That'd be great.
No, I mean, just on the outside, smile,
Right.
because you are being looked at,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not inside, but
Yeah.
that might have come out a little strange.
No, that might help. What do you think? Think that'll help?
Yeah, I'm the one that set cameras down last year.
Yeah.
I can do that again here.
I mean, that worked good.
I got the app on my phone.
Okay,
I
great.
can see it sitting at home.
Super.
Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, good.
Scared,
All
really
right.
scared. That sounds good. Let's see, how about insurance? Now they're looking into insurance, Traven's looking into insurance, but, in Rosie's Park, that's kind of a city. And do you think we should have some insurance for the weekend? And I suppose for the streets too?
It's been stated at a different meeting that they increased during the Volks Fest, that the city had automatically for their own
But the
protection.
thing about it is the boat fest is run through the city. Poles right now.
Right, but it's still within.
It's still what happens, if somebody falls and breaks their leg,
Mhm.
it's gonna be us.
Yeah.
I don't care what the JCs does,
Mhm.
they're still coming after the city, so.
Well, it was also stated at the meeting that for the bounce houses and such, that the city and JCs would be listed on the policy that the bounce house will take out. So that will be on the policy itself, that the city has stated as well as the JCs.
So we need to do something. I don't know if would be as much, or, I mean, the days are,
Well, we gotta
for the weekend.
we gotta cover our butts, so.
All right. Have a good amount.
You wanna look into that, Jill?
I'll ask Jerry about Dicky, what it was for last year, or the last time he had it. I'll send out the message.
Okay, that's all I have.
Do you have council concerns?
Well, I attended that April 18th meeting for the truck association.
Okay.
And they passed, it was 15 out of 16 passed to buy the new truck, and they maybe want to meet with the city as well they were asking about some of our COVID money, if we put that forth, and I said that that's spoken for in many different areas already. And then they were wondering if the city.
This is the fire truck?
Yeah, the fire truck association.
We don't own any fire truck, we own the building.
Exactly, just the building and we insure it, and that's what I told them, so. But they may wanna approach the council, make a meeting. I told them to set up an appointment and come to the meeting if they wanna do it, that's what we're having. Yeah, I told them I put it in the notes and mention it at the meeting, that's what I did, so.
But we do the men, we do the insurance, we do the
Exactly,
training.
all the training,
And we do pay 22.5% of the building.
Yeah, that was it.
That was our contribution, so we did not do anything with the trucks.
Right, yep. And, you know, that's, yep, I told him I'd bring it up here, and then he said they might want to set up a meeting with us, I said, that's just fine, so.
I mean, I think, I'm willing to meet with them. don't get me
Absolutely,
wrong,
yep, yep. But that was brought up at the meeting as well, and they said that we're already taking care of all of that, and we didn't have nothing to do with the trucks, so. I just told him I'd bring it up at the meeting, so I brought my notes.
Okay.
Somewhere else our money can go.
Yeah.
I told them it's, yeah, there's.
We just raised the expense.
Everybody's got their hands out. Any other public, all right.
Well, on Second Street over here too, the whole street is undermining, it's washing out, there's like a 10-inch void below the street and stuff. I was gonna maybe see if the engineer wanted to take a look at that and see what to do. There's big lulls, there's big low spots in it where the water sits, it's all washed out.
Is that by,
It's the old city hall, right in front of the old city hall, and then across the street.
I know across the street, I seen that the other day.
Yeah, it's bad through there, and then the sidewalk caved in by the old city hall, you can see it. And then I looked underneath and there's a void, there's a 10-inch void, and it goes under the street, and all them semis coming, drag partners are being reloaded. So I think we should have somebody look at that, because you can see right under the street.
You wanna
You
get a
can
hold
that
of,
street
you
fall.
wanna get a hold of Reese? And
Yeah, just have them take a look at it.
And that's on Second Street
Yep.
near the old city hall?
Between First and Second Avenue?
Yep, yep. And I put a bunch of brick and stuff down in there now, because it's such a big hole. I mean, it's pretty bad.
Right in front of the old city hall, that's where it is.
Yeah.
Not so much in the street, it's right by the sidewalk on the edge there.
Well, both sides, you see both sides. of the street.
It's down so
Yeah.
bad.
Yep, and then across the street too, I watch the water when it rains, it all just sits there. And even down in the corner, it just sits in a big pool, it doesn't make it to the drain. That street was just done, wasn't it? Like 10 years, 8 years? Jeez, that's too bad. Something must have, utilities or something.
Done the same time the Pool Street was done.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, if you looked at that street, you'd have Reese take a look at it and see what he thinks, because something should be done before something's gonna fall in. Yeah.
So did you say that the big trucks go through?
Yeah, what's the weight limit on city streets through
Yeah.
there in the spring?
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
they better stay away.
Well, no, it's egg partners. I mean, they have to get to egg partners, so, I mean, and they're coming in the county road, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's all county,
It's all county,
except
except
for
for
that
that.
between them.
When they come through there.
Okay.
It's right in front of like egg partners,
Yeah, but
old
if
shop and
they're,
stuff.
they're gonna fall in a hole.
Well, I just
Well,
don't
that's
know,
a
I
false
can see under the street, that's what I'm saying, the sidewalk fell in, and it's a big void, and it's like 10 inches of just hollow under there, yeah, you know.
Maybe that's why water line freezes every year, because of you guys.
I have no idea.
Blame somebody.
Jason.
Yeah, I'm getting blamed for everything else, I'm not gonna take that.
Oh, dear.
Okay, any other council concerns? You're gonna get a hold of Reese on that, right? Okay, any other council concerns? Public concerns? I take it that's why you guys are here.
We are with the historic, I'm David Betcher with the Historical Society.
I'm gonna need you guys to go
I
up
gotta
to,
stand up there?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because we are live.
We are just asking the city if you'd be able to help us out with the spending on the waterway over here. We got half the expense is covered by soil and water. Estimated expense was about $9,000. And the city is gaining a lot by us redoing it. It was a 25-year-old waterway that was just getting built up. There's a lot of water staying in it. And we leveled it all out. It's 80-foot flat. There's only 6 inches of grade between where the city
Storm
storm sewer dumps and the 58. That's what. But the water is always going to sit there some. We're hoping to be able to mow it again. That's the thing.
Just to, I don't wanna cut in on Dave,
Oh,
but a lot of the reason we're having trouble is the water coming out of your storm sewer. that drain there, and, you know, even if there's a big rain from the other way, I mean, it can wash in a little, but that, up there, everything is filtered out all the way around from up, you know, there's a lot of water, but, you know, when you got water flowing this way, and you got a good stream coming off your pipe, it tends to swirl right there, and then it's making the silt
And
stop.
what happened over time was it built up.
Yeah.
And we got it all flattened out now, we were lucky, the weather was good enough, I mean, now, and it was surprised me he could do it, and he did it. And it's all seeded in, and I can tell you now, it's not gonna cost $9,000 because we didn't have to transport any dirt, it was all pushed up onto our field.
You know, we had intended to come to you before, but we just got this window to do it, we kinda didn't think we would even get to do it or until maybe late summer, because of the fact that, well, just the pipe, you know, any little rain on the streets, and we got water running. I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but the water was usually pulled up down farther here, you know, where your thing comes in. It takes a pretty good rain to bring it down from above, you know. And like you said, there still might be, like Andy said, with that much drop, or that little bit of drop, you could pour concrete there and you'd end up with a few puddles, you know, you can't get that.
Yeah, because we've been talking about it, but the state of Minnesota said when they did that, gonna do that roundabout, that they felt they were back to the water if they were gonna redo all this off the state. The state of Minnesota was.
I don't think they come above 58.
Yeah, they said they were gonna come all the way up to the corner up here.
I can't believe it.
No, they come to us on it.
Yeah.
You know, that's why when I seen this done, I go, oh, nobody apparently talked to you, because Chad Hansen, when they were talking about the design and that, to redo the bridge on number 9 and that, they said this one here the same way, they felt they were part of the blame for this backing up too. It wasn't flowing enough.
Well, what are they gonna, they'd have to lower the pipe at 58 then. You can't tell me they're gonna tear up the 58 and lower that pipe.
They were gonna put different pipe in there because of the roundabouts going out the ways.
Yeah, the roundabout is way down below.
Yeah, they're gonna start there, and they felt it was backing up here, so they were gonna redo the waterway all the way up past this bridge, up to that corner.
Well, that'd be 3 years from now. I think.
Yeah, it'd be 24, but.
Yeah, and that would cost a lot of, I mean, they'd have to lower the pipe under 58 to do any good. It doesn't, we can't cut this anymore up here because.
No, that's what
it's gotta go through the pipe.
they thought they were causing enough of it, they were gonna redo the pipes
Oh, well,
and that.
That's great if they do it, but,
And by then it might have to be redone again, depending on how things.
Oh, it probably will.
We still
yeah.
gotta get this, you know, the seeds gotta grow yet.
we were just looking at, you know, like you said, 9,000 they were talking, and roughly, or maybe a little more or less, but the conservation department was talking about paying 50%, so we'd be left with 4,500 or so, and if you would pay for part of that, even, like I say, a lot of the accumulation is coming off your streets, not to mention even the trash. I mean, there was a ton of trash. We cleaned them last fall. It got so dry, we finally cleaned up them cattails and all that, and they were just packed with garbage and stuff, you know. We just, you know, we figure, like he said, it's a real benefit to the city to, if it stays dry enough to mow, it looks really nice, especially if they're gonna put that monument up there. Now, from the highway, you know, it looks way better.
No, I know it needs to be done. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not against it.
I mean, like I said, we're gonna come before, but the window was there.
Because at one time,
And he still isn't, I don't know if he really could finish the part. We still gotta do some work from the pipe down to the waterway, because
It's all marked from where the city's.
that part was so wet that, but, you know, we got it flattened out a little, so if we get some warm weather.
because I know a couple of years ago, they wanted us to do it. We said it'd be better off for you people to do it, because if we did it, we have to pay for 100% of it
Yeah. But it,
because of being a municipality.
mhm.
You know, we're private landowners out there who get
And
the
we,
grants.
they were willing to pay 50%, which was pretty good. That's, and that has to be used this year, if we're gonna get 50%, so. But we had a window to do it, so we went ahead and did it. Yeah.
So how much you asking the city?
I guess if I was saying it, I would say if you would, you know, we were gonna pay our half, if you would, you know, this would be, if you would pay half of our half, which would be probably a maximum of $2,000.
I think so.
Well, yeah, it had to be done, it looks a lot nicer over there, just coming into town tonight with the truck, I saw that, I think it was great,
If you
so.
would, if you would be more than happy if you covered
The
it.
trick will
yes.
be to get it to grow, or so we don't get big flood.
Everybody kind of be working together at that point, half
Yeah,
of your half.
you
plus
hate
their
to
two.
tear up a waterway, but they
Right.
all gotta be done in a certain
So
point.
why don't one of you make a motion to go for half?
I move that we vote to pay half of your, of
Half
what you're
half
doing.
of- half
Half
of
of
our
our
expense.
Half of your half.
We would really appreciate that, that would be.
Do I get a second?
What, 2,000?
Well,
Is that what you said?
I'm guessing, it's
Well,
the maximum,
it was 45.
45, I believe with, our max would be 4,500, so it'd be 22 or 2250 would be probably your maximum.
Well, I don't know if we can pay it extra. Come on. Oh, they're asking for more money?
I know, everybody's asking.
If we don't have the bills, it was just done yet, I've got some preliminary ideas.
I was gonna second it till you threw that 250 in there. No, I'll second.
Yes.
Motion made second to go to $2,250 for the waterway. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Thank you very much.
And
And
I
then-
was gonna add when this guy was talking about the water, or cover crops and stuff, you wanna do some of the city stuff. It could be such a thing, we'd have to talk to the guys planting their crops, but maybe they would go along with putting cover crops on our little field too, you know, if that would help out your.
That'd be a good place to ask.
Right.
Maybe speaking without asking, but,
Well, we rent the land. We-
yeah,
we
I'm
want
sure
to put cover crops on.
we have to get some guys.
It could be added to your acreage, the city acreage.
You know, just another plus.
It's a thought, yeah.
Sure. That would be good.
And
That'd probably help a little bit on
one
the
other
settlement
thing
too.
I was gonna ask, or is as long as your law enforcement is here, if you guys would keep an eye on that, so you don't see any four-wheelers going down through there, because that's what really messed it up.
Yeah.
First, I mean, it had pockets, but they had made
Right.
deep ruts, and it was really hard to mow.
Yeah.
Wayne, you have a house in the back.
Yeah.
Now, you landlords must take care of the waterway behind, because we
Yeah.
own that whole waterway.
Yeah, we won't, yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
But the rut thing, yeah, is real. I mean, there's been ruts for years now because of
Yeah.
the four-wheelers driving through there.
Yeah, so,
Got the snowmobile trail that comes through.
yeah, nice, but some, well, it's a grassy waterway, and some
Yeah.
feel they can, and it wouldn't be bad if it was dry, it wouldn't hurt a thing, but you know, they get in there and then they can't even get out. They're sticking there.
Right, like the mud.
Yeah, so, I think that's all we got, I guess we're.
I better not ask for more.
We're happy.
Get out of here.
Well, I was just gonna throw, I don't know if any on the council knew about this, but until about 3 years ago, the city always mowed that.
We did.
Yeah, and it was that a decision from the council to not do that, or all of a sudden it was not being done?
Well, what it was is, it was decided at the council because there's a couple people brought up, why is the city doing that, spending the gas money to do that? You should be doing my lawn also. And that's okay, we got to treat everybody the same, so we had.
I just.
That was the only reason behind it.
There was some talk though that years ago when they did that, they had kind of made an agreement that the city was gonna maintain it.
Let's see, I've been on the council since '96 and I don't remember that.
I don't know,
I mean,
nobody.
it wasn't a deal that
It was
this,
never written
It was
down.
one of them unwritten things that just,
no, it was,
And I can tell you, you know, we would, you know, if somebody, if you have extra hours, send them down there to mow.
well, this summer.
So I just have one thing, so once you get that invoice, and then if you could have Barry, or cause Barry drops off your water payment, if he could just give me the invoice, and then, so then I'll eventually present it to these guys when I do the bills,
We'll
so.
have the two different, the seed is charged, the history center, and Andy Schumacher did the work, so there'll be two different.
Sure.
places.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got something, or?
I just came to listen. We'll talk later.
Jesus.
Yeah, talk to Kenny.
Yeah, right.
Okay, do I got a motion to pay the bills?
So that, the voided one, and that was just voided. And that was, 425. That was for the payroll. And then it must have been set up again to pay. On page 5.
Yeah, it's a $0 amount, so.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, so that one was, the explanation for that would be, I tried taking out taxes for his, health insurance, which actually doesn't start on the first of the month. And so he just got paid this week. And I shouldn't have done it until starting next week, which, yeah. So I had it gone through the systems and I voided it. So there's a $0 amount, but you did see the dollar amount that it was slated to be, originally.
I don't, I kind of looked through this, and I think it's pretty good. It makes sense, I guess, you just have to spend money, I guess. That's right. So I move that we accept the bills. The pay bills.
Do we have a second?
You ready, Jason, or what do you think?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look through it, but I looked at the beginning numbers and the end numbers, and it's, I mean, like she said, it just costs money to run a city, so I'll second, I guess, if
Well, I would too. but,
you, go ahead.
I'll second.
Motion is made, and second to pay the bills, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. I got a motion to adjourn.
I'll also move.
Second.
They're fighting over that one.
See?
Motion was made and seconded by everybody, all in favor, say aye.
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 We're adjourned.